unable to realize what place she had ended up in. Fuya even managed to come to her senses, but naturally she was completely bewildered, unable to realize what place she had ended up in. Ben noticed that the girl had a rather unhealthy complexion, as if the dullness reflected her inner state, causing concern and concern. If the situation continued, the girl would not last long, which is why Ben felt an urgent need to find a way to recover her. The main character tried to solve the riddle. Mila, with caring in her eyes, began to deftly bandage Iris's leg, as if wrapping thin loops of care and friendship around her, trying to shed light in the dark moment of healing. Iris, looking at them in bewilderment, did not understand why they stayed, because strategically it would have been smarter to simply slip away, as if retreating from danger. But perhaps there was something in their decision that eluded her gaze. Max, wisely deferring to Iris's better judgment, refrained from arguing as he admitted that she was indeed right, as if calling for wisdom and making inevitable decisions. In fact, it had always been the case that they preferred to leave, as if taking with them traces of an unknown past. But now, perhaps, something in Iris forced them to stay, breaking the usual ritual of flight. They skillfully manipulated other adventurers, turning them into living baits, since they, in their weakness, succumbed to their persuasion and got lost in a world of intrigue and dangerous adventures. However, when they saw Rui, they wondered if they should accept this lifestyle, as if noticing something in his fate that made them question the meaning of their own actions. However, when they saw Rui, they wondered if they should accept this lifestyle, as if noticing something in his fate that made them question the meaning of their own actions. After apologizing, Max stated that even if they themselves did not ask for help, he decided to help them anyway, as if an inner impulse of kindness reflected his true intentions. The girls were also fired up with the idea, eager to demonstrate their abilities and strength to everyone, as if they had gathered the fire of determination within themselves, ready to write their name in history. The girls were also fired up with the idea, eager to demonstrate their abilities and strength to everyone, as if they had gathered the fire of determination within themselves, ready to write their name in history. Now they had a better chance of defeating the golem, as if by combining their strengths and skills, they had created an unstoppable alliance, ready to face even the most severe threat. Realizing that in this situation it was better for them to give in for now, the girls decided to retreat temporarily, as if strategically choosing the moment to retreat in order to return with renewed vigor. At this time, Max laughed and assured that there was nothing worth fearing, as if his fearlessness was like a shield protecting from the shadows of fear. Iris, deciding to trust the guy, eventually saw him draw a slingshot, as if in his hands this simple tool turned into a powerful weapon, ready for action. Iris flared with anger, realizing that he intended to use the slingshot in the battle with the golem, as if her fear turned into rage at the unwise decision, causing a storm of emotions. Max, confident in his choice of weapon, remained deaf to Iris's objections, as if his stubbornness was stronger than the opinions that divided them. Max boldly fired a smoke bomb, as if creating a veil of mystery behind which he could hide his movements and muddy the situation, anticipating the golem's moves. The girls were relieved that Max would now join their fight, as if his decision to fight alongside them had given them a new surge of motivation and strength. Kazaka handed Mila a mysterious potion, as if unspoiled forces were concentrated in this mysterious liquid, ready to reveal themselves at the right moment. Frederick expressed his gratitude to the girl and admitted that he had not counted on their help, as if in their kind actions he had discovered unexpected support and allies in a harsh struggle. Now they faced a final challenge, an all-or-nothing battle, as if they were preparing for a decisive battle where every action could determine the outcome of their adventure. Max realized that he would have to show his full essence, as if this was not just a battle, but a test where he must reveal his true strengths and skills. He resorted to using the slippery ball as if creating a clever tactic that allowed him to maneuver around the golem and dodge its powerful blows. The partner used a special lubricant, as if using it to create a slippery barrier that made it difficult for the golem to move, giving strength to their alliance in this battle. And this indeed brought positive results, as if their cunning and joint efforts were effective in the fight against the golem, opening the way to success. Mila assured Max that he could rely on her, and then used her magic, as if turning her words into reality, to support him in the decisive moment. And indeed, their combined efforts began to bear fruit. The golem slowly began to fall, as if under the influence of a combination of their magic and cunning tactical moves. Max also realized that even an A-class monster couldn't stand up to such a combo, as if his experience and powers of observation told him how powerful their combined actions were. But, alas, unfortunately, the monster was able to rise to its feet, as if its strength and tenacity allowed it to recover from the blows, causing a new turn in the battle. Max couldn't believe their plan didn't work, as if disappointment and bewilderment showed in his eyes despite all their efforts and the strength of their combined approach. Luckily for Max, Iris was there to save him, as if her quick and decisive intervention was a bright spot in their battle-filled story. Max couldn't believe at all that the girl had saved him, as if surprise and recognition of his vulnerability were reflected on his face, meeting an unexpected feat. Max said that he now owes the girl for his salvation, as if acknowledging the debt and expressing gratitude for her selfless support in a difficult moment. But Iris simply did what came naturally to her, as if her kindness and willingness to help were a part of her nature that did not require special thanks. At that moment, the girl remembered Kazak's words that she herself knew why she saved her, as if secret motives and internal changes began to appear in her mind. Iris began to remember how she was rescued, as if the footage of the past came to life again in her memory, bringing with it excitement and mixed emotions. She couldn't concentrate, all her thoughts were spinning in her head, and suddenly she realized that you didn't always need a reason to save someone. She just wanted to do it and express her concern. When she fights with someone, the strength and feelings stir within her, as if her heart beats in time with the fight, giving strength and determination to the battle together. And so now Iris is serious, as if her inner fire of determination has burned brighter, preparing for a new wave of battles and challenges. Now it was time for her to teach the monster a lesson, as if determination sparkled in her eyes, ready to teach him what he did not know how to expect. She was completely determined to defeat the enemy, as if a formidable hymn of determination sounded in her soul, ready to fight to the end in this battle. Iris athletically dodged the monster's attacks and smoothly walked around it, as if dancing to the rhythm of battle, her grace becoming a weapon in the fight against the enemy. And then she completely resorted to using a bloody sword, as if in her hands this sharp blade had become a continuation of her inner strength called to fight. And she planted it right in the monster's eyes, as if with a precise blow she had chosen the key point to strike, creating a short-term chance in this battle. This blow was undoubtedly strong and powerful, as if its energy filled the space, leaving a clear mark on the power dynamics of the battle. To the girl's surprise, she noticed that the monster began to attack itself, as if its indestructible will to fight had an influence on its behavior, creating a new turn in the course of the battle. Iris really didn't expect things to turn out this way, as if the monster's unexpected reaction to her blow had left her feeling surprised and uncertain about the fight. Max immediately ran up to the girl to find out how she was, as if his anxiety and concern flared up at the moment when the situation in the battle became unpredictable. The guy provided the girl with a regeneration potion, as if his concern for her well-being had become a priority in their joint struggle. Calling on the forces of restoration, Max began apologizing and calling himself useless, as if his mind was overcome with guilt and helplessness, absorbing the weight of responsibility for the course of the battle. Iris, of course, began to deny this, as if not wanting Max to burden himself with guilt, and expressing confidence that they would cope with the difficulty together. After all, thanks to Max, she was saved from certain death, as if the recognition of his role in their destinies became a bright note in the dark plot of their adventures. And then, as if out of nowhere, Rui appeared, as if a mysterious character had introduced a new element of surprise into the course of their events, diluting the everyday routine of the battle. Rui was glad that he was able to return to his friends, as if a joyful memory and gratitude flashed in his eyes for the opportunity to be together again. The protagonist immediately began using magical analysis, as if his mastery of magic was the key to uncovering secrets and recognizing potential threats in the world around him. The monster managed to fight it off with the magic seal stones, as if demonstrating its strength and ability to resist the effects of magic. causing bewilderment and concern. Now he understood why he could not win. And then he decided to finish him off with something interesting, as if an idea flashed in his eyes that could change the course of the battle. Rui was ready to launch his attack, as if his readiness to fight transformed his appearance, creating an aura of determination in the face of this inscrutable warrior. His gaze was cool and confident, as if his eyes reflected his readiness to take decisive action in this dangerous battle. The guy used a technique called space slash, as if his mastery of magic manifested itself in creating a temporary hole, providing new opportunities during the battle. And oddly enough, it actually worked, and the monster fell, as if surprise and relief were mixed in the faces of the heroes, realizing that they were on the verge of victory. Now, thanks to the guy, they were safe, as if his ability to make difficult decisions and use magic was an integral part of their survival in this world. Rui immediately began to check if everyone was okay, as if his concern for the well-being of his friends manifested itself in vigilance and readiness to support. Max immediately began to beg Rui to share his knowledge, as if hope for the discovery of new horizons and skills was visible in his eyes. Rui was glad that Frederick and Kazaka were okay, as if relief washed over him, making sure of the well-being of his friends. Kazaka said that if he was going to praise her, then it should be done with Iris, as if her laughter and slight mockery created an atmosphere of friendly jokes. Kazaka said that if he was going to praise her, then it should be done with Iris, as if her laughter and slight mockery created an atmosphere of friendly jokes. He, in turn, also believed in Iris and thanked her for protecting everyone, as if at that moment their mutual trust became even stronger. And just at that moment, Charlotte returned, as if her appearance was an unexpected turn in the course of events, adding mystery to their adventure. And just at that moment, Charlotte returned, as if her appearance was an unexpected turn in the course of events, adding mystery to their adventure. It's always the oddballs who like the guy, like Max, as if Charlotte were expressing her playful side towards their unpredictable friend. The Kazakh noticed that something began to happen, and began to shake in some incomprehensible way, as if she expressed concern and anticipation of new events hanging over their group. Max shouted that the dungeon began to fall off, as if his exclamation pierced the air, a harbinger of a new danger and a call to action. Between the shadow of hope and the emptiness of fear, in the bottomless labyrinth of their fate, the unknown bubbles, and if they do not get out, their dreams will be buried alive under a pile of unknown circumstances. Beyond the limits of everyday life, which usually reveals a way out, this time the prospects disappeared, as if they were eclipsed by the darkness of unpredictability, and then only the heavy silence of the unknown. Beyond the limits of everyday life, which usually reveals a way out, this time the prospects disappeared, as if they were eclipsed by the darkness of unpredictability, and then only the heavy silence of the unknown. The information that appeared in memory turned out to be like a key to a closed castle. It was a dungeon, a building designed to store the hero's secrets, where a testing golem, the guardian of hidden mysteries, awaited those who penetrated. Suddenly realizing that it was not just a guard of secrets, but a double trap, the hero realized that his further path would be lined with collapsing secrets, skillfully created in this dungeon. Max was questioned about whether he happened to have some item in his possession, and there was a shadow of suspicion in this question, as if the key to the solution might be in his hands. Max was questioned about whether he happened to have some item in his possession, and there was a shadow of suspicion in this question, as if the key to the solution might be in his hands. Max revealed the secret. It was a magic stone of movement. He explained that under the influence of magic, this stone is able to transport them outside, opening the door from the darkness of the dungeon. The stone's capabilities were limited. The protagonist had to carefully select only 3 partners whose strengths and skills would make them a team capable of overcoming the dark obstacles of the Dan. Consequently, realizing that Rui was unable to make a difficult choice, the protagonist felt the weight of responsibility facing him in selecting 3 companions for the great journey. The main character expressed gratitude to Max, but admitted that it was difficult for him to make a choice, and the decision about which partner to take with him was left hanging in the air. The hero, full of determination, did not want anyone to suffer harm because of his guilt, and this burden of responsibility pressed on his soul, making the choice even more difficult. In conclusion, he only asked to believe in him, as if it were the last thin thread connecting their destinies in this dangerous adventure. The Kazakh and Charlotte, with bewilderment in their eyes, could not recognize what decisions the guy was about to make, and their incredible adventure depended on this moment. There was a knowingness in Iris's expression, as if she had knowledge of what the guy was about to do, which added to the mystery and excitement in the air before the unpredictable turn of events. A satanic ray flashed from the hands of the protagonist, framing his figure in a dark glow, and at that moment, an aura of mysticism and unknown power hung in the air. Gathering all his strength, the main character offered all his energy, directing it to save his friends, as if trying to bring down the walls of a dark labyrinth and free the captive souls. Iris realized the whole point. This beam is capable of destroying magic, and if the dungeon is created from magical power, the hero could simply erase it with his unique beam, clearing the way forward. Exhausted, the guy exhaled and declared that now everything depended on the strength of the name. As if at that moment the meaning of his words was revealed in the air saturated with tension. Kazaka proposed a plan they could take off with the help of her 18-meter friend, like a natural union with the power of the wind, providing them with an unexpected path to freedom. Suddenly, an unimaginable creature took them, and, as if captured in the arms of magic, they all took off together from the dark dungeon, overcoming the boundaries between reality and fantasy. Naturally, they were all full of joy, realizing that they were able to escape danger and escape from the ominous mysteries of the dungeon, feeling within themselves the excitement of sudden deliverance. Arriving home, they said a friendly farewell together, as if each of them had carried into their hearts a piece of the adventure that had bound them forever on this incredible journey. Rui noticed that sharp pains were piercing his whole body, as if every cell was screaming about unbearable discomfort. And at that moment, as if out of a fog, Kojiro appeared. Having learned from the head of the hostel that he still had not returned, he could not believe that the guy returned so shabby, remembering their conversation in the forest. The teacher asked if he had used his potion. Bewilderment flashed in his eyes, as he did not expect that anyone would pay attention to his mysterious experiments. The teacher, having fallen into experimental methods of treatment, used incomprehensible means, because of which something was pinching the guy very strongly, causing him to doubt the choice of the teacher. Surprisingly, the teacher was informed that his potion was really performing well, which was confirmed in practice and turned out to be true. He, however, was glad that the guy returned in perfect order. At the same time, he warned, saying that it was better not for children to do such things. Next, the main character had to arrange a bath for himself, lie in warm water, and hopefully, sleep in the hope that all the troubles would disappear. Rui still couldn't believe that he was actually worried about him and was waiting for him, and their meeting in the forest remained a mysterious secret for him. Waking up, the guy decided to go in for sports, trying to awaken his body and get away from the memories of the strange events of the previous night. And at this time, his good old friend the parrot flew to him, spreading joy with his bright feathers and cheerful cries. So, in addition, with some exotic fruit in its beak, the parrot brought not only joy with its shrill greeting, but also with the aroma of mystery. It is clear that the main character was glad that they brought him fruit, and thanked his feathered friend for the unexpected morning treat. But it was time for Rui to go to school, and she said goodbye to the parrot, in an amazing mixture of joy and anticipation of new adventures. Kojiro apologized for the suddenness, but announced that today was the last lesson with him, instilling mystery in the upcoming farewell and leaving behind many questions. Although they spent little time together, it was definitely worth it, filling their lives with vivid memories and unexpected turns. Rui was slightly in a stupor, because she could not understand why everything was happening this way, and the mystery of this oncoming world only increased her misunderstanding. It is clear that Charlotte immediately noticed the strange behavior of the guy, and curiosity flashed in her eyes as she tried to decipher the secrets that were in the air. He was wondering why the teacher was in a worse mood than usual today, and he thought about the possible reasons, sensing something mysterious and unknown in the air. The man, in principle, carried out his duties, but in the eyes of his students there was a shadow of some unknown mystery, making his ordinary actions more mysterious. He said that when attacking, you need to grip the sword, emphasizing the importance of reaction, and despite this, his stance became better than before, which surprised everyone around him. It's clear that the guy was happy with what he heard, saying that the stand needed to be made even better, and deciding to go practice to bring his skills to perfection. Next in line was Prince Yuri, and everyone around him was curious to see what lessons of skill and secrets the mysterious teacher might reveal to him. Next in line was Prince Yuri, and everyone around him was curious to see what lessons of skill and secrets the mysterious teacher might reveal to him. He brought a staff to training, ready to learn not only swordsmanship, but also master other types of weapons, adding variety and uniqueness to his training. The teacher said that he would now attack, and Yuri needed to try to defend himself. Following his instructions, there was a tense atmosphere in the air, full of expectation and challenge. Yuri was serious about this training, believing in every movement of the teacher an opportunity to gain a new level of mastery and improve his skills. The teacher noticed that the guy had a good stance, and his gaze was confident, emphasizing his readiness for challenges and a thirst for mastering new techniques. It is not clear why the teacher regretted him, because in his eyes one could read pride in the demonstrated level of training and the desire for improvement. But still, the teacher decided to start sparring with his student, creating an atmosphere of competition and an opportunity for Yuri to show his skills in battle. Yuri was slightly alarmed by all this, but prepared for the sparring, feeling inner strength and determination to cope with the challenges posed by his teacher. Well, it's clear that Kojiro in turn was calm and confident. The master, rushing forward at the speed of light, threw out his first attack, like a master of instant embodiment of power and movement, creating a whirlwind of power. Yuri, as easily as the wind, will not give up his position, like an unshakable guard, standing like an impenetrable wall, calmly preparing for the inevitable meeting. Joy filled his heart for being able to defend himself, as if a bright sense of pride had ignited within him, emphasizing his ability to ensure his own safety. In the blink of an eye, the teacher's gaze changed dramatically, as if dark shadows were replaced by bright light, revealing the secrets of his true intentions. A sharp rage gripped him, like a raging fire, and realizing his impulse, he apologized to Yuri, like a warm wind softening a storm of indignation. Then, like an instant of irrevocable fate, he hurled the killing blow towards the student, leaving a trail of mysterious strength and determination in the air. After which, oddly enough, the guy simply collapsed on the floor, as if an invisible burden suddenly mixed with the severity of defeat, leaving silence behind him. Everyone present was frightened by what was happening, as if a sudden shadow of fear enveloped them, causing their hearts to beat louder in confusion at the unforeseen threat. The next thing the teacher did was put a sword to Yuri's head, as if the ominous drama had reached its peak, freezing for a moment in tense silence. Kojiro said goodbye to the guy, as if in this farewell there was not only a finishing touch, but also some kind of inexpressible weight of unspoken words and unknown experiences. Rui came to the defense of his friend, who did not allow himself to easily kill the guy, as if his determination blocked the teacher's path, turning the moment into a struggle of destinies and friendship. He could not understand what all these events meant, like a mysterious puzzle where parts of an unknown picture remained unsolved, entailing excitement and doubt. Here Yuri's guard already appeared, who could not understand at all how the man allowed himself to do this, as if his bewilderment was expressed in a lack of understanding of what was happening before his eyes. It is clear that he immediately flared up with rage after this, as if a storm of passions had shot up in his soul, enveloping the flaring internal fire. He promised to kill the man, as if his words carried an unwavering determination, thundering like a thunderclap, a harbinger of an inevitable collision. The main character asked the guy not to give in to anger, as if his wise words sounded like a gentle whisper in a storm, warning against reckless actions. After Rui whispered something to the guy, he instantly calmed down, as if the mysterious words of a friend quickly dissipated the clouds of an internal windbreak. Then she suddenly declared that she relied on the main character, as if this unexpected turn of events gave her confidence in the future and created unprecedented harmony. Finally, he only asked her to protect us all, as if his plea sounded like the last hope in the unsteady dance of fate, slowly revealing its cards. Then he stood in a fighting stance, ready to fight his master, as if every movement of his body expressed determination and strength to protect those he loved. Just a few seconds later, Iris appeared behind the guy, as if her appearance was an unexpected ray of light, penetrating the darkness of the struggle, bringing with it hope. She could not identify a single weakness of the teacher, and the difference in strength seemed enormous, as if an abyss stretched between them, filled with undeniable superiority. Wolf was furious, because he could not understand why in such a situation it was impossible to influence in any way, as if helplessness enveloped him like a dark veil. But Charlotte asked the guy to calm down, because he was not alone, as if her soft words were a caress that dispersed the clouds of indignation in his soul. It's a pity that it was dishonest, but nothing can be done about it. You just need to look and remember, as if there was wisdom hidden in this wrong moment. Charlotte silently begged the guy to be okay, as if her gentle thoughts penetrated his soul, calling for inner peace. Charlotte silently begged the guy to be okay, as if her gentle thoughts penetrated his soul, calling for inner peace. The guy said that he spent little time with the teacher, but he, worried about them, turned out to be real to him, as if an understanding of what was important in this regard was ripening within him. Kojiro said that not everything is so simple, and they will not understand anything, as if her words sounded mysterious and an unknown secret shrouding what was happening. He asked the guy to leave for health reasons, in addition noting that he did not want to harm anyone except the prince, as if his words sounded like a desire for a peaceful resolution of the conflict. The teacher's blow seemed fatal, but he needed to make sure that the guy's breathing stopped, as if a heavy shadow of uncertainty remained in the air. It is clear that the main character could not allow him to leave, injuring his friend because he did not yet have a reason to attack the teacher. Rui was partially right, and it was not easy to understand why he needed to kill someone, as if a fog of mystery shrouded his actions and motives. However, he had his own reason for this, as if a fire was burning inside him, fueling his motivation, but its essence remained in the shadows. If he blocks his path, he will pass with force, as if an invisible wall was in front of him, causing him to become determined to destroy it using all his power. The teacher was serious and wanted to end the guy. Well, now, Kojiro simply had no choice, and he needed to get rid of Rui. A split second later, he disappeared from the guy's field of vision. And in an instant, it appeared right in front of him. This maneuver looked impressive. And in an instant, it appeared right in front of him. This maneuver looked impressive. He began to repel all enemy attacks and did it skillfully and professionally. The teacher said that the guy was quite good because he could parry his blow. And all this was thanks to his teachers in the form of friends and sister and Rio. The guy decided to strike, but it was unsuccessful. But the teacher's blow had its fruits, and Rui even moved a couple of meters. The guy even had to use magic so as not to fall on the floor. Then I decided to use a technique called Big Flame. The ball of fire moved closer and closer to the teacher. It was indeed a well-trained magic, but did the main character really think that he could take a teacher with it? Kojiro prepared to defend himself from such an attack. He needed to put in no little effort to do this. He then used magic and was still able to repel the attack. It is clear that the main character did not expect this and was surprised. Doing what the enemy doesn't like is the basis of battle. If everything is converted into numbers, then there is not much difference between him and the teacher. But he didn't know that the guy was a difficult child. He was sure that if he continued like this, he would definitely be able to defeat the guy. Then the teacher realized that the guy was becoming stronger during the battle. In addition, he can remember its movement at incredible speed. Then the guy completely gave up on his feet and was ready to continue the fight. He wanted to move away and switch to magical attacks, but he does not have enough speed to move. Thanks to the shuffling of feet, it was difficult to predict the teacher's next action. He just needed to find his weak spot and hit him there. Unfortunately, the teacher was able to pierce the guy with his sword. It was very bad for the guy. The man felt some hot air around him. He couldn't figure out what it was or who it was. As it turned out, this was the guy's plan, and now was his decisive act. The guy decided to use a space cut, as in the case of the stone monster. It was a good move, but only if the guy could hit the teacher. Kojiro, in turn, used a technique called the swallow's tail. After such a blow, the guy could no longer stand on his feet and fell, coughing in his own blood. Kojiro decided to check the prince's breathing and just go their separate ways. He pointedly said in front of the other students that he didn't like to kill without a good reason. If they leave, he will not harm them and will leave them alive. Charlotte asked whether the man wanted them to calmly watch him kill their friend. Kojiro realized that he simply had no choice. Finally, he just said that it would be very painful for them. Rui was still able to somehow wake up and tried to persuade the man to stop. Either it was memories or he really was transported to endless hell. But the very essence is that the guy was in endless hell. The girl said that the guy had become much stronger, but he still lacked something. This something was determination. If he gets into his world, he will have to face it. A situation may also arise when he has to kill the enemy. Rui said with a kind face that it is not necessary to put his life on the line. If we talk, he can understand him. The girl said that his kindness is his strength. However, if everything could be discussed, this would not happen to the warrior. Things that are important to him can be lost in an instant. Therefore, in this case, he does not need to get lost when he fights for life and death. Rui managed to whisper words of forgiveness from the girl Rio, and then he began to get up completely in order to continue the fight and not let the man win. Rui found the strength and motivation to get up and continue the fight. Kojiro did not expect that he would have the strength to fight with such wounds. The guy is shaking all over, but is still ready to continue the fight with the teacher. Rui was determined. He wanted to put an end to this lawlessness. Kojiro asked for forgiveness for treating him like a child and will now accept him as an obstacle to his goal. The teacher was ready to strike Rui again, but to the surprise of everyone, the guy was able to easily repel this attack without using a weapon, with his bare hands. Kojiro couldn't understand how Rui managed to do it so easily. He was confused because his movements were very careful. Then the main character began to launch his attack. Kojiro will notice that Rui's number of hits has changed, which means that he has become stronger. The main character realized that he needed to use a third attack technique called Saranui. This blow was really strong and unexpected for the teacher. The man immediately fell to his knees after such a blow, and the guy immediately began to thank him, because thanks to him, he learned the horror of war and true determination. And with the help of this power, he will overcome the teacher. Kojiro did not expect such a surge of strength from the guy. He was not ready for it. In such a small amount of time, he became stronger. He became too strong. Kojiro couldn't believe that willpower changes people like that. The man noticed changes in the guy's face. It is unclear why the main character's eyes changed color and became red. Rui realized that this is not just like that and they give him strength. The main character remembered how in Endless Hell he said that when they were training, he noticed that she began to defend herself faster than he began to attack. The girl was happy about this because it meant that the guy became stronger and that he noticed it. It's called the Dragon's Eye, and only the strongest of dragons have it. Unlike the Magic Eye, it also sees life and Qi Gong, muscle tension and movement. With this, you can understand how the enemy will attack. Rui was upset when he learned that only dragons could wield it, but the girl made him happy and told him that he could have it too. Her blood flows inside him, and thus he can also use Dragon Qi Gong. Her blood flows inside him, and thus he can also use Dragon Qigong. He will appear when Rui senses real danger and is ready to fight with his will. Then the power of dragons will definitely save him. Rui was grateful for these words and Rio's lessons. It is clear that for Kojiro, this meant that he had even more problems. He was sure that now he would definitely not lose and walked towards his goal. It is clear that Rui will not just stand there and began to defend himself. The main character needed to jump back, but he didn't hit. He hoped that everything would work out. On top of that, Rui literally managed to cut off the teacher's hand during his attack. The main character asked whether Kojiro was ready to continue the fight since he could no longer use a sword. After these words, Kojiro became completely furious. But he also has a reason for which he needs to win this battle. Even if he is covered in blood or dirt, he must win. But Rui also has his own reason. All his friends and people dear to him, he is obliged to protect them. Their battle will go down in history as a legendary confrontation. He became stronger in order to defeat the teacher. Kojiro lost his arm, and now this. But Ryu cannot lose no matter what. The main character began using Dragon Qigong as his #1 attacking move. Rui was ready to use the Dragon Star Fist. Kojiro was wondering if the guy could stop his ace in the hole. Giant General's Sword. This is magic that only magicians with a general mark can use. But on the way to save Rio and her sister, there will probably be even stronger opponents. Rui, with inner tension, gathered the last bit of determination in himself to deliver the final blow. Feeling a growing wave of energy ready to spill out at the moment of the solemn embodiment of his determination. Rui, trained by the strongest, was ready to take charge again and protect Yuri and everyone, holding his resolve as a guard ready for the test. Kojiro admitted that the guy turned out to be much more complex than it seemed at first glance, and agreed with this, encountering unexpected depth and strength in him. He sincerely regretted his actions, realizing that if he were as strong as that guy, he wouldn't have to do what he was doing now. Rui, feeling the weight of responsibility for his friends and loved ones, was ready for anything, feeling an unshakable determination within himself. As a result, he will be able to avoid Kojiro's attack and carry out his own, which will show how masterful he is in his strength and dexterity. And, as expected, the blow was too heavy for Kojiro, who simply passed out, unable to bear this crushing blow. Rui attributed his success to Rio. Thanks to her, he gained the determination that allowed him to overcome all difficulties. Of course, the protagonist's instant victory was inseparable from the support of his friends, who were always there, ready to defend him. After some time, everyone worked hard together, trying to save Kojiro and bring a change to the current situation. Fortunately, with their joint efforts, they managed to bring Kojiro back to consciousness, restoring him after the fight. The guy apologized immediately after waking up, having previously warned that the next moments would be painful. Asking the girl standing next to him, Lona, to begin the necessary process, he tentatively explained that it might be unpleasant, but necessary for his recovery. Lona proceeded to use High Hill, providing the boy with the healing he needed to recover from the fight. The man was surprised to see how she was able to restore him simply by casting a spell, because even experienced healers usually need several hours for such a restoration. The girl wondered if it hurt, but despite this, she skillfully continued her work, creating a healing spell with grace and skill. Kojiro expressed outright surprise at Lona's professionalism and skill in healing, clearly admiring her skill. Kojiro couldn't believe that he was able to move his arm again. Now new prospects were opening up for him, and he realized that he would be in debt. The teacher could not understand why Rui decided to save him after all the events that had happened and the actions he had done. But the guy himself also seeks to understand what the point is when Kojiro, at the end of the battle, found himself under his protection. It was as if he had conceded, as if he was deliberately aiming for defeat, giving the impression that his goal was to concede in this battle. Then Kojiro realized that his deception had been figured out, and even the children noticed this cunning move. Having lost the battle, he realized that the most important thing now was to take the prince to the hospital, because the chances of saving him were extremely small. Approaching him, Yuri asked him not to worry, trying to calm him down and support him despite the current situation. In fact, the main character gave him a magical artifact, revealing a secret that could change the course of events. Thanks to the substitution medal that the adventurer in the dungeon provided him with, he managed to escape, avoiding the danger that awaited him. The blow was so powerful that he still temporarily lost the feeling of recoil, switching off from the intensity of the moment. It was clear from his expression that he was enjoying this, enjoying the moment of recovery and peace from the intense events. Then Kojiro, realizing his mistake, knelt down, beginning to beg forgiveness to those whom he had upset with his actions. After such changes, I don't even want to respond to words, but it is clear that the upcoming punishment will not be easy. The teacher, realizing the current situation, was ready to accept any punishment. He only asked to be given a chance to tell how everything came to this. Her gaze changed sharply, as if she was preparing for something big. A second later, the man fell to the floor, as if conquered by a wave of pain that overwhelmed him, depriving him of support. Lona could not understand what was wrong, because she was treating, but the temperature continued to rise, as if the rebellious organism did not want to agree with her efforts. After some time, the man began to feel better, as if the shadow of pain was gradually dissolving under an invisible ray of relief. Well, nothing can be done about it. The temperature does not subside because of this, as if it had become an unruly element, ignoring any attempts to influence. As it turned out, the man had the mark of a slave, as if invisible chains of long-lasting submission paved the way to his past, intertwining with his present. Rui noticed that he was not just a slave, because the seal was made in the wrong sequence, as if a moment had flown through his awareness, revealing a mystery hidden in the mystical signs. Rui noticed that he was not just a slave, because the seal was made in the wrong sequence, as if a moment had flown through his awareness, revealing a mystery hidden in the mystical signs. The man said that the guy was great, because he realized that this mark was prohibited by royal decree, being an illegal seal of slavery, as if he had unraveled the secret message in the signs of submission. As it turned out, he has a 7-year-old daughter, but a year ago she fell ill with an unknown illness, as if the shadow of a mysterious illness had enveloped their lives, leaving a trace of mysterious moments. His symptoms were the same as those of his wives who had died several years ago, as if the curse of the past had come to life again in their lives, repeating itself with merciless precision. Many doctors were unable to cure his daughter. She weakened day by day. When he lived far away, 2 men came offering a special magical item to relieve the symptoms. In return, he had to carry out several errands. He realized the severity of his sins. He no longer cared what would happen to him, as if the burden of regret had become an integral part of his existence. Well, his daughter named Fuyu was sinless, and he begged to save her, like the last innocent soul captured by fate. The main character asked if everyone had heard the man, emphasizing that it was their responsibility to save his daughter, as if the question hung in the air, filling him with determination. Just then, 2 strangers were sitting in the man's house, discussing that they had discovered a potential source of income, as if invisible threads of fate intertwined their decisions in an unpredictable whirlpool. After all, it's enough to just keep her alive, as if a mysterious proposal sounded in the room, breaking the silence and infiltrating the plans of strangers. They decided that they needed to make more money from that samurai, seeking to get rich quickly, as if the greedy minds of strangers were weaving plans, ignoring moral boundaries. Well, their sweet conversation was interrupted by Rui, who spectacularly appeared like a shadow of the unknown past, disrupting the flow of their greedy plans. The guy was really furious and ready to deal with them, as if the fire of indignation burned in his eyes, guiding him forward. The men immediately picked up knives just in case, as if the dark shadows were preparing to dance in anticipation of the outbreak of a threat. The men immediately picked up knives just in case, as if the dark shadows were preparing to dance in anticipation of the outbreak of a threat. The girl then began to crush her opponents, as if a whirlwind of revenge had suddenly erupted, and she became an unstoppable force, falling on those who faced her wrath. And then she took Fuyu in her arms, as if gently and decisively protecting her from the storms of a hostile world, creating a protective shield around her ward. The men realized that once again their secrets had been revealed, because they thought that they were hiding safely, as if the invisible hand of fate was revealing their secrets at an unexpected moment. Wolf said that it was easy to find by smell, as if his sensitive sense of smell was the key to revealing the secret hiding places weaving in the air. Well, the guy said that he was the first to analyze everything, as if his mind became a spearhead penetrating secrets and solving their riddles. The man said that they were strong and offered to measure their strength with him, as if a challenge had been thrown, and tense anticipation of a fight hung in the air. Well, the guy would not forgive them under any circumstances for disgracing the man's efforts and his strength, as if his pride were a piece of shrapnel cutting in the air. Then, as expected, he struck the enemy as if the moment of truth had arrived, and the sound of the collision of hostile waves filled the air. Then, as expected, he struck the enemy as if the moment of truth had arrived, and the sound of the collision of hostile waves filled the air. Kojiro's prediction came true. The girl's heart flared up, as if a passionate flame had flared up in her heart, illuminating everything around with its warmth. This was something beyond an ordinary disease, and the healers seemed powerless in the face of an unknown illness that required unusual means of healing. Some kind of resourceful method was needed that could put an end to the disease, which declared war on the girl who had become a hostage to her own condition. Rui concluded that the first step was to let the girl evaluate Lone, and then urgently go to the palace, leaving behind a trail of a mysterious decision. At this time, the girl and guy settled down peacefully, awaiting the arrival of their friends, feeling the tension in the air being replaced by an atmosphere of pleasant anticipation. It was clear from her facial expressions that the girl was irritated and nervous, as if the internal dissonance concealed mysterious riddles and expectations. The guy gently asked the girl to calm down, reminding her to breathe deeper, as if his words were a quiet touch to the seething inner world of her feelings. The girl's gratitude went to Ben, and as if by magic, the children felt much better, as if his presence brought calm and healing energy. Ben, in response, feeling his role in changing the situation, even blushed slightly from unexpected gratitude and attention. Happiness knew no bounds, and he rejoiced to see that thanks to his help, the girl was able to find peace and tranquility. Then Ben conveyed the good news, saying that it seemed that their friends had arrived, as if the invisible shadow of tension had dissipated with the arrival of loved ones. As the guy predicted, everything happened exactly like that. His friends actually came, confirming his instincts and ending the wait. Lona decided that she would start with a simple attempt at healing, aiming to bring relief to the girl with her healing touch. Fuya even managed to come to her senses, but naturally she was completely bewildered, unable to realize what place she had ended up in. Fuya even managed to come to her senses, but naturally she was completely bewildered, unable to realize what place she had ended up in. Ben noticed that the girl had a rather unhealthy complexion, as if the dullness reflected her inner state, causing concern and concern. If the situation continued, the girl would not last long, which is why Ben felt an urgent need to find a way to recover her. The main character tried to solve the riddle. It seemed not a disease, but some kind of curse, and lowering the temperature turned out to be not a simple enough solution. Doctors and healers, it would seem, should have noticed something deeper, since attention must be paid not only to obvious symptoms, but also to mysterious aspects. Ben asked if something was captivating the main character, if something had caught his attention, as if waiting for key information that could reveal secrets. Ben asked if something was captivating the main character, if something had caught his attention, as if waiting for key information that could reveal secrets. Rui was slightly distracted and realized that if she began to train, the girl could become an outstanding magician, as if the glimmer of new potential was blossoming in their harbingers. Ben discovered something fascinating. Her mother also had a significant amount of magical energy, as if the mystery of magic permeated their family ties. The amount of this magical power meant only one thing. They had the potential of great possibilities and secret powers ready to blossom. Ben asked to pay attention to unexplained fever, fatigue, and swelling of the joints, noting that these symptoms closely resembled her condition, as if they were united by an unknown force. Rui agreed that the symptoms were identical, as if confirming that the mysterious influence extended not only to the girl, but also to her mother. It seemed like magical poisoning. Usually too much magical power is considered a sign of health, but too much can lead to poisoning. And her mother had a body type that made it difficult to control magical energy. Her body is tormented by the accumulated magical energy, and if it is released, it will begin to accumulate again. Perhaps this is not an easy solution to the problem. Kazuka announced that she had an idea, like a ray of light in the darkness, ready to illuminate the path to a possible solution. She offered to give them her idea for free, like a gift ready to shed light on the dark corners of their mysterious quest. She begged them to try it on the girl, as if staking any hope of successfully testing their shared path to healing. Rui waved his hand, inviting Lona to join him, as if anticipating the moment when a new chapter would begin in their strange healing journey. The guy asked Lona to put it on the girl and use it when she felt tired, creating an opportunity for her to heal through healing. Lona announced that she had a gift, asking if the girl could accept it, as if the offer of a mysterious gift was hanging in the air. Fuya tried to express gratitude, but suddenly began to faint, as if emotional stress had overtaken her, leaving confusion and anxiety in its wake. Of course, the girl immediately began to treat her, as if healing magic had been summoned in response to an unexpected fainting spell. Her face instantly takes on a healthy tone, as if the magic of healing spreads through every cell of her body, returning vitality. Ben felt bewildered, could not understand whether it was the effect of the bracelet, as if a mysterious force was hiding its secrets, leading him into a world of mysteries. This is a magical item, a charge bracelet created to accumulate magical energy. When it is filled, the release of magical power will begin. However, to her, it seemed to always drain her energy, as if a magical exchange was part of an unexpected journey with this bracelet. The Kazakh woman asked to give her money instead of gratitude, explaining that she bought the bracelet at a big discount from Max and simply spent the money for nothing. Wolf noticed that the girl was blushing, indicating her embarrassment, as if embarrassment bloomed on her cheeks, creating a nonverbal response. After some time, Rui decided to visit Kojiro, as if the clock was ticking, measuring the moment when they would cross paths again. The teacher expressed gratitude for the guy's visit, announcing that the academy was closed for the holidays, and now he had free time. As the guy noted, the man seemed to feel great, as if positive energy and satisfaction surrounded him. It all happened because the protagonist erased the mark of a slave, as if the act of liberation marked the beginning of a new stage in their relationship. Kojiro realized that it was because of him that they were sent on vacation, and he brought trouble to Legacy, as if the shadow of regret lay heavily on his shoulders. The man should have been severely punished, but Yuri took him under his wing, as if his difficult past was in the hands of a man ready to change the outcome of events. The man should have been severely punished, but Yuri took him under his wing, as if his difficult past was in the hands of a man ready to change the outcome of events. It was as if suddenly an almost sepulchral silence reigned, as if everything around instantly froze, leaving only the echo of previous events. A jailer recently told a man that the guy cured his daughter. He not only saved him from robbers, but also had a healing effect. The man couldn't even imagine how he could thank the guy for this, as if her daughter's life had received a second chance, leaving behind a debt of gratitude. Rui stated that a man should not be grateful for this, as if the act of healing had become a natural manifestation of her gift, a kind of integral part of her being. After all, at the very least, he simply acted in a natural way, expressing concern and asking her to leave quickly for the good of his own daughter. The man firmly decided that he would never forget his debt. Someday he would definitely return it. He swears with his commander's mark, as if the promise remained in his heart like a sealed agreement. At this time, Iris seemed alarmed by something, as if the shadow of an indefinite anxiety was approaching, overshadowing the clarity of her usual mood. Although it was still early, the guy was extremely tired and decided to take a nap, as if the need for rest had become the main pressing issue. But his attempts to sleep were interrupted by Iris, who at that moment entered the room, as if an invisible force of fate had directed her to him. She immediately apologized for her late arrival, explaining that she had a friend gathering information who came for a surprise visit. An interim report on the ruins of the hero was received, as if pieces of the past and future began to sparkle in this information kaleidoscope. When the girl tried to sit on his lap, he remarked that this was not the place to do that, as if the atmosphere called for more formal communication. Iris felt like she had done something wrong, as if the realization of her mistake was reflected in her gaze, creating unnecessary tension in the air. Then she pressed herself as close to the guy as possible, as if trying to smooth out the previous awkwardness and restore communication on a closer level. Then she pressed herself as close to the guy as possible, as if trying to smooth out the previous awkwardness and restore communication on a closer level. The main character realized that it was really too close. There were only two people in the room, and at the same time they were so close to the bed that it would be difficult for him to concentrate. The girl noticed the guy's worried look, as if the reflection of his anxiety was mirrored in her attentive gaze. The girl noticed the guy's worried look, as if the reflection of his anxiety was mirrored in her attentive gaze. Now, realizing his mistake, he was ready to listen carefully to her, as if awareness of his own inattention had opened up a new perspective for him in communication. Now, realizing his mistake, he was ready to listen carefully to her, as if awareness of his own inattention had opened up a new perspective for him in communication. Since the guy didn't listen to her, she decided to get closer to him. He noticed that this was impossible, as if reality had interrupted their moment, emphasizing the inadmissibility of further physical steps. Although perhaps this attracted him, as if a moment of intimacy left a mark on his perception. Iris wondered if their relationship was a servant-master relationship. At first, she showed him respect, as if trying to decipher the subtle dynamics of their bond. Iris wondered if their relationship was a servant-master relationship. At first, she showed him respect, as if trying to decipher the subtle dynamics of their bond. Spending time together, succumbing to his strength and kindness, just looking at him, her soul becomes warm, as if emotional memories warm her inner world. And then, for the first time, she felt the distance between them. She began to feel jealous of the hero's granddaughter, as if a new element of interaction brought with it difficulties. She realizes that she may not be worth it, but she decides to try anyway, as if the desire to cross the border of her feelings became too strong to resist. She asked if the guy wouldn't mind. He could return her feelings. Then she kissed the guy, as if this moment had become decisive in their relationship, filling the space with new, unknown emotions. To my surprise, the guy didn't try to resist at all, as if at that moment he decided to indulge in the flow of feelings, leaving questions and doubts behind. He noticed that it was unusually pleasant, as if in this kiss he had found something that he had been missing for a long time. He noticed that it was unusually pleasant, as if in this kiss he had found something that he had been missing for a long time. Rui reciprocated. He was flattered that such a girl had feelings for him, as if mutual recognition brought them even closer. Iris asked if she could come down, as if the question became a bridge to return to more mundane questions and activities. Rui said that this was not necessary, as if he gave her freedom of choice, creating an atmosphere of mutual respect and understanding. In fact, she didn't tell him anything, as if a secret was hidden in her eyes, adding heightened interest to the moment. From their first meeting, she fell in love with his sweet face, as if the facial expressions of his face became a magical guide to the world of her feelings. She apologized for ignoring him the first time she met the guy because she felt embarrassed and insecure. Then she thought that someday they would have to be enemies, as if the first impression left its mark on her perception of the situation. Fate is a strange thing. Back then, she didn't think their relationship would develop into this, as if a path that began with uncertainty led them to an unexpected turn. She couldn't stop looking at the guy's sweet face, as if she found something in his features that made her heart beat faster. For a long time, she had wanted to make him blush, as if in this embarrassment she saw a peculiar charm and inexpressible tenderness. The guy only asked to be more gentle, as if his request sounded tender and trembling. The guy only asked to be more gentle, as if his request sounded tender and trembling. Meanwhile, Charlotte was sitting in her room, unable to understand who Iris thought she was, as if a mysterious shadow of misunderstanding had passed through her thoughts. She didn't know what she was doing, because if she was attacked, she would come back, as if a mysterious threat lurked in her ignorance and uncertainty. She noticed a brochure from a harvest festival she had attended often as a child, as if memories of past joys had resurfaced in her mind. And in this, she saw some kind of sign from the universe. She understood what was needed, as if the random find had become a reminder and direction for her from the cosmos. While the guy was sleeping, it was time to enjoy his sweet sleeping face, as if these moments of peace brought joy and peace. Using her long nails, the girl decided to sneak into the room, as if her determination and dexterity were the keys to the secret corners. Carefully opening the doors, she immediately asked for forgiveness and wanted to ask something, as if her sudden appearance was accompanied by sincere intentions. To her surprise, she did not notice anyone in the room, as if the emptiness and silence became her silent testimony. And only on the table did she see a note, as if the mysterious message had become her only guide in this quiet emptiness. It was a note from Charlotte, where she said that she had taken the guy and asked everyone to go to his room, as if mysterious courses of events were developing under her leadership. It was a note from Charlotte, where she said that she had taken the guy and asked everyone to go to his room, as if mysterious courses of events were developing under her leadership. There was no longer any warmth left on the bed, so that meant that they had long since left, as if the empty bed was evidence of their temporary absence. At this time, the couple was directly running somewhere, as if their haste was evidence of urgent concerns or exciting events. The guy, waking up in the morning and finding that she was in his room, was scared. He would have been grateful if she had warned in advance that they would leave, because the surprise caused misunderstanding and anxiety. And then the gaze of a couple of girls fell somewhere in the distance, as if something had attracted their attention in the distant future. This is the trading country of Bloom, as if the name of the place carried a hint of prosperity and variety of trading opportunities. They really use ships as homes, as if sea travel has become not only a means of transportation for them, but also a way of life. A state city on the seashore, founded long ago by a great merchant. It is called the largest port on the mainland, as if its history is imbued with great trading traditions. Usually there are more people in the capital, but today there are a little more people here, all because today is the first day of the fertility festival, as if a festive atmosphere filled the streets of the city. The main character was incredibly happy because for the first time he came to some festival, as if enthusiasm and excitement filled his heart. He immediately grabbed his girlfriend's hand and told them to go, as if the excitement of discovering a new adventure had visibly awakened his resolve. Charlotte slightly did not expect such abruptness from the guy, as if his unexpected energy gave their walk an unexpected pace. She noticed that they hadn't gone on a date together in a long time, and she was glad that she brought him, as if remembering how nice it was to spend time together gave them a special mood. And then their journey into the world of adventure began, as if every step at the festival opened up new interesting opportunities for them. They both had as much fun as they could, as if every moment at the festival became a reason for laughter and joy. It was just time for a snack, as if appetite had become an involuntary companion of their exciting journey through the gastronomic delights of the festival. Rui really enjoyed the food as well as everything else about the festival, as if the delicious food had become an integral part of his positive experience of the event. So they will be cheerful for the second half of the day. Charlotte's fish soup is also very tasty, as if the delightful impressions left them with energy and satisfaction. However, all the stores she showed were good, as if the selection of offers pleased them with variety and quality. There were even magical objects that Max probably didn't have. Somehow they continued to meet him, as if the mystery of magic added a new element of interest to their everyday life. He, Wolf, and Byrne also see each other often. I don't know what happened, but they somehow found a common language, as if the invisible ties of friendship became stronger. Charlotte asked the guy not to worry because she had already planned everything, as if her confidence added comfort and confidence in future events. To be honest, this made the main character laugh, as if the unexpected course of events added lightness and playfulness to the situation. He asked the girl for forgiveness after he saw her face, as if caring about her feelings became more important to him than jokes. He just feels like an ordinary student when they walk him around so calmly, as if the ordinariness of the moment creates a pleasant sense of normalcy. From the moment he decided to save his little sister with Rio, he only thought about how long he would have to fight alone to achieve his goal. He did not think that he would spend such a peaceful time, as if life had surprisingly changed its ways. From the moment he decided to save his little sister with Rio, he only thought about how long he would have to fight alone to achieve his goal. He did not think that he would spend such a peaceful time, as if life had surprisingly changed its ways. They really may be a little unusual, as if the originality gives their relationship a special charm. But this does not mean that they cannot be satisfied with something ordinary, as if in simple joys they find their uniqueness. Maybe because they try so hard. They have the right to everything, and faces more than others, as if their efforts give special meaning to every moment. Rui completely agreed with this, as if in the unity of thoughts and feelings they found the harmony of their existence. For some reason he really began to think too much, as if a shadow of misunderstanding had covered his thoughts. Charlotte offered to go already, because she had not yet had enough fun, as if the anticipation of the fun made her look forward to the continuation of the adventure. The main character looked at the girl, and how happy she was with a smile on his face, as if his own happiness was closely connected with the joy he brought to her. Still, they bought something. The guy, as always, bought something incomprehensible, as if his interest in unusual things was an eternal source of surprise. The fun passed for him as if in an instant. He wondered how many more stores they would go to, as if his curiosity knew no bounds. But suddenly, all the fun in the guy's eyes ended after one mention of his name, as if a wave of seriousness and anxiety covered his soul. Out of nowhere and out of nowhere, Elena appeared behind the guy as if she had emerged from the shadows, ready to bring new twists to their adventures. Charlotte could not understand what was going on, as if Elena's mysterious appearance had brought mystery and unsolved mysteries into her world. The main character was clearly not happy about the girl's appearance, as if her appearance disturbed his peace and caused misunderstanding. He immediately began to wonder where she came from here, as if trying to reveal the secret of her appearance in their world. Now she was convinced that it was still a guy. She had been looking for him for a long time, as if solving a riddle that had been tormenting her mind for a long time. She didn't think he would leave the village and become an adventurer, as if imagining his future had changed her view of him. Elena had clearly been preparing for this meeting for a long time. Her gaze expressed secret plans and long-hidden feelings. As an adventurer, you can earn money and travel to different countries. It was a very convenient profession. It took a lot of effort to find him, but she still turned out to be strong. She quickly advanced to silver rank. Elena, noticing the determination in the guy's eyes, decided to invite him for a walk. And at that moment, on a magical night, she said that she forgives him for his previous rejection, opening the door to a new chapter in their relationship. In a world of magic and secrets, where destinies are intertwined, she, like a gentle shield, will cherish him again. Her love is an invisible armor in the storm of life. Perhaps her intentions were hidden in manipulation, because this apparently was not a simple defense. In her presence, he did not know how to relax. Naturally, her words caused a wave of anger in the girl, stirring up the inner fire of intransigence. If he desires misfortune, let him follow this dark path where shadows envelop the soul, for light and joy will be far from him. Charlotte politely asked if she could squeeze in, eager to find comfort in their conversation. Charlotte said that the girl is free from obligations to the guy and can choose not to communicate with him. Now she takes care of him, as if she has become his invisible protector. Lena perceives Charlotte as the girl's mistress, aware of the upcoming date, and therefore is not going to interfere, leaving them to enjoy the moment together. Elena couldn't believe it. The lady turned out to be more than just a childhood friend. Charlotte's gaze embodied something deeper and mystical. Earlier, the guy mentioned her to Charlotte, but she did not imagine that he was dating such an unusual girl, as if he was revealing the secrets of the world to her. If Elena wanted to fight, then Charlotte was ready, but if she was afraid, then it was probably best for her to return to her village and avoid conflict. These words ignited anger in Elena, and she became ready for any possible action, despite the consequences. The readiness to kill Charlotte right on the spot pierced Elena's soul, clouded her mind, and swallowed her heart with a dark wave of revenge. Politely addressing the guy, the girl asked him to look after her purse, as if showing unobtrusive concern for her property. Then, like a wolf, she stretched out for her sword, ready for a virtuosic blade dance in battle, personifying strength and determination. Having said that she was going to cut off all their ties, she said it with such determination, as if she was tearing off the last invisible cord connecting their worlds. Elena lacked patience and resolutely attacked first, as if releasing an internal flow of passion and determination. Of course, Charlotte easily deflected this blow, as if dancing with the wind, allowing her to masterfully soar in the air, avoiding a collision. At this time, the main character was still in a state of shock, stunned by the development of events, as if floating with the flow of fate. He noted that Elena had gained considerable strength since leaving the village, as if her time away from him had allowed her to accumulate incredible energy. He noted that Elena had gained considerable strength since leaving the village, as if her time away from him had allowed her to accumulate incredible energy. After uttering these words, even greater anger flared up in Elena, as if a fiery storm of intransigence flared up in her soul. After uttering these words, even greater anger flared up in Elena, as if a fiery storm of intransigence flared up in her soul. Charlotte, as if seeking to break the prolonged stalemate, decided to strike, as if summoning a force capable of overcoming Elena's resistance. Deciding to use the brave cherry petals technique, Charlotte created a beautiful and deadly whirlwind attack, as if scattering indomitable petals around her, summoned to the dance of fate. In addition, Sakura's aspiration, acting as a powerful technique, enhanced the effectiveness of her attack, as if natural forces were supporting her stamina and determination. Elena, it seems, will not forgive Charlotte for anything, as if a strong determination arose in her heart not to forget and not to forgive. She couldn't comprehend how Charlotte dared to seduce her with Rui, as if it was an incredible betrayal that deeply wounded her trust. Charlotte felt as if she saw herself in Elena before she met the guy, as if her own path was reflected in the mirror of time. Boasting of her gift, Charlotte, when faced with failures, showed her hysteria, as if it was difficult for her to come to terms with the fact that not everything was going according to her plan. The main character changed her, and Charlotte felt gratitude to him for this, as if he were the architect of her changes. Elena remained perplexed, could not understand why Charlotte decided to free herself from the sword, as if from a symbol of her strength and steadfastness. The girl came to the idea that if Elena did not attack, it could mean that she was admitting defeat, as if giving Charlotte freedom of choice. Elena was losing track of how to express her anger vividly, as if she had exhausted all ways to express her anger in this situation. Then, naturally, she decided to attack again, as if trying to regain control and prove her strength. Charlotte once again chose to use the brave cherry petals technique, as if creating a whirlwind of invisible but deadly blades around herself. Only this time she used a move called Petal Flash, as if adding a new, unexpected dimension to her attack. In this fight, Charlotte looked much more powerful than Elena, as if her strength and skill shimmered in every movement, asserting her superiority. As expected, Elena was unable to defeat Charlotte and only fell, as if realizing her defeat in this battle. Rui just watched all this ups and downs in silence, shocked, as if trying to comprehend all the chaos unfolding before his eyes. Charlotte clearly expressed joy at being able to protect not only herself, but also the guy, as if she had found satisfaction in her determination and strength. Then, with a smile on her face, she waved her hand to the main character, as if to sign her gratitude for his role in this unusual theater of events. The guy admitted that the situation seemed frightening, as if he was aware of the seriousness of what was happening and its impact on their world. The guy admitted that the situation seemed frightening, as if he was aware of the seriousness of what was happening and its impact on their world. The girl began to apologize for disrupting his first festival, as if feeling responsible for the unsuccessful conclusion of events. But the main character did not think that there was any problem in this, as if appreciating the importance of the moment and looking at the situation with optimism. Plus, he added that she was truly amazing, as if finding great qualities in her that outweighed the bad parts. Suddenly, she began to train Qigong, focusing only in front, and became stronger, as if new energy and determination had awakened in her soul. In response to this, when he saw Elena, he instantly fell down, as if feeling like a failure in comparison with her inner strength. In response to this, when he saw Elena, he instantly fell down, as if feeling like a failure in comparison with her inner strength. Charlotte instantly grabbed the guy's hand and walked with him somewhere. As if holding his hand, she was opening up new horizons before them. Dragging him to the bed, she declared that she had become stronger thanks to him, taking him as a model, as if in his presence she found strength and inspiration. Although the main character did not expect such a turn of events, he felt touched by this, as if something unexpected and pleasant had awakened in his heart. He was only frightened by such a girl, but this does not change who he is, as if his own stable personality traits remain inside him. Rui was glad that a person appeared in his life whom he could trust and discuss everything, as if he had found his support and understanding in this regard. Although it is difficult for him to admit, simply forgetting this girl turned out to be a difficult task for him, as if her influence had left a deep mark on his heart. Charlotte promised to make him forget her, as if her eyes sparkled with determination to erase the memories of her previous girlfriend. After that, she kissed him passionately, as if this kiss was a promise of a new beginning and oblivion of previous difficulties. For the first time, she yielded to him, realizing that she also needed to become more experienced in these sensual moments, as if discovering new facets of her own desires. Charlotte promised that she would try all day to make him forget, as if trying to create moments of weightlessness and pleasure for him. The main character apologized for everyone constantly paying attention to him, as if aware of his role in the spotlight. The main character apologized for everyone constantly paying attention to him, as if aware of his role in the spotlight. Elena, after the battle, still could not come to her senses, and was ready to go to extremes, even to the point of thinking about killing Charlotte. She couldn't comprehend how Charlotte dared to defile her boyfriend, as if in her eyes it was supernatural insolence. At that moment, a stranger approached the girl and asked if he could ask her something, as if the sudden appearance of a stranger added a new twist to events. The man introduced himself by the name of Thorn, as if adding to the mystery of his appearance in this already tense environment. He said that he was helping to find the way for lost lambs, as if his arrival turned out to be some kind of strange salvation at this moment. Elena stated that he looked suspicious and did not want to talk to him, as if she felt something mystical and disturbing in his presence. The man was still able to hold the girl, mentioning her hated enemy and the person she seeks to win back, as if these words had an effect on her, making her think. The stranger asked to believe him, clarifying whether what he was saying was true, as if casting doubt on his veracity. The man said that he knows all these details because he is a pastor and is able to sense people's weaknesses, claiming that they can help Elena. Elena could not comprehend what the man meant when he spoke of saving her, as if his words remained a secret, incomprehensible and mysterious to her. No matter how he looks, he is actually well placed in a large organization. If she wants help, they can help with solving her problems, as if providing new perspectives and opportunities. Elena noticed that it all really looked very suspicious, as if every element of this incident was filled with mystery and uncertainty. But if, like today, she misses the guy again, it's as if doubt and fear of loss are tormenting her heart. In the worst case, you can beat them up and just leave. She is just going to use them and nothing more, as if her goal is to survive at any cost. Elena stated that she agreed to the man's terms, as if making a decision that she believed could ensure her survival and protection. Elena was curious about what kind of organization this was, as if she was trying to unravel the veil of secrecy surrounding this mysterious man and his proposal. He said that he was a member of an organization called the Church of Genesis, confident that she would definitely like the name, as if assuming that she would find something attractive in it. The man was disappointed that nothing was known about the Demon King until now, as if his expectations and hopes for new information remained unfulfilled. He reminded that the subordinate is trying harder at his job, as if calling for greater dedication and diligence in performing his duties. He reminded that the subordinate is trying harder at his job, as if calling for greater dedication and diligence in performing his duties. However, after more than a century of searching, there is not a single clue, and there are very few who are looking for her seriously, as if the mystery of her disappearance remained unsolved and forgotten. A guy approached the man and asked if she could talk to him for a moment, as if the appearance of a new face brought some change to the routine. The guy's name was Jason, as if the new name gave him individuality and mystery in this difficult world. 300 years have passed since the mistress disappeared, and the inhabitants of the demon territory began to show dissatisfaction due to the long absence of their king, as if the power and order in their world began to be shaken. 300 years have passed since the mistress disappeared, and the inhabitants of the demon territory began to show dissatisfaction due to the long absence of their king, as if the power and order in their world began to be shaken. And this was just the beginning, as if the shadows of future storms were already darkly stretching ahead, foreshadowing even greater trials and changes. The man was furious at the news that there was a new contender for the throne, as if his power was under threat, and this made him angry and worried. The man is almost the only protector of the Demon King's family. The guy realizes that angering him is in vain, and it is probably better for him not to worry about the possible consequences. As he said earlier, due to the absence of a king, the inhabitants of the demon territory have a hard time, however. Thanks to him, the country was not left without a ruler, and this prevents complete chaos from disintegrating. But this still cannot continue for long, as if the pressure of circumstances and the instability of power are slowly but surely eroding the foundations of a demonic society. The man agreed that there was some truth in this, but it was wrong to assume that he was not looking for a replacement, as if recognizing his secret desire to find a worthy heir. Jason confidently declared that he would become the new king, as if challenging the current protector of the Demon King's lineage. It is clear that the man was not just angry, but simply furious after hearing what he heard, as if his emotions flared up and turned into a storm of indignation. Jason's gaze, on the contrary, was very confident and calm, as if he did not have the slightest doubt about his words and actions. The man said that the guy had simply wasted his time and asked him not to come into his sight again, as if stopping any discussions and putting an end to their meeting. Someone approached the guy and said that he was great, as if expressing recognition for his determination and courage in a difficult situation. They asked Jason how it all went, as if expecting details about the meeting with the man and the conversation about claiming the throne. He began to say that, as the Prime Minister said, he was too devoted to the country, and better than others he did not involve himself in this either, as if conveying the assessment of his situation by senior officials. The man who appeared said that they would then ask them themselves, as if hinting that fate might bring unexpected turns. It was Minister Gran who heard their conversation, as if suddenly intervening in events and leaving his mark on the turns of history. He was interested and asked for more details, as if trying to unravel the mystery and understand what forces and influences were currently operating in their demonic society. However, everything that the guy tells further will become a big secret. He has one condition, as if hinting that this information is not intended for a wide range of people. He wants permission to enter human territory, as if raising the question of the need for cooperation and interaction between two different worlds. Indeed, if he gives him permission, he will be able to pass, as if opening up the opportunity for the guy to interact with the human world. A long time ago, when the hero ogre defeated the Demon King, it was as if a legendary story about the struggle between different worlds and forces began. There was a war between three races, namely demons, beastmen, and humans. A great war in which the continuation of the race of each of the races was at stake, like a clash of destinies and survival. It divided the territory where the Demon King lives, and the territory where people and beast people live, and everything has remained that way until today, as if the borders drawn in that distant period of the war remained unchanged. If they are caught, it could lead to execution, like a hanging threat for violating centuries-old rules and laws. Well, The guy couldn't understand what the man was waiting for and asked if it was time to return to the era when demons were the strongest, as if offering to look at the past in search of solutions to current problems. In the dark corridors, a man, brave and determined, meets his fate and becomes a hero saving demons, his sword sparkling, piercing the darkness and releasing light in their world. Having met a mysterious woman with eyes sparkling under the moonlight, the man was clearly aflame with passion. In her gaze, he found something that stirred his soul. Jason realized that a new piece had appeared in his game, a pawn, and finally the moment of revenge had come when he would make his move and change the course of fate. He will take revenge, although it is not clear for what, but Jason intends to direct his revenge towards Alice, as if in the shadows of the past there is a secret hiding that requires unraveling. At this time, the main character, his fears coming true in his eyes, entered the vast expanses of endless hell, where darkness swallowed up every glimmer of hope. Angry at Rio's actions towards the guy, Alice looked excitedly in his direction, a wave of misunderstanding and disappointment raging in her heart. She, embarrassed and confused, decided to diffuse the tense situation and, in a light mocking tone, asked how much time she would have to spend on the guy's lap. Alice noted dissatisfiedly that she had to sit on her knees more often than she would like, while, in turn, she never preferred this position. The main character, not paying attention to this, believed that there was no problem in this, not realizing the dissatisfaction and disappointment that Alice concealed within herself. Rio embroidered fun into every minute with the fabric of her mood, generously decorating life with smiles and funny stories, trying to bring her sister out of seriousness and into the world of laughter. The guy, being at the exciting peak of his story, asked if he had time to share the details of his adventure in the dungeon, revealing all the secrets of the hero and the information discovered. On the canvas of the performance, where he was depicted surrounded by 3 faithful friends, the image of not just a hero emerged, but a great monarch, ruler of 3 worlds. The images of the Fairy King and the Snake King were spinning in his mind, and he believed that it was they, this trinity of mysterious lords, who could reveal the secrets of the hero. Although there was almost negligible information about the Snake King, fairies and Lamia, preferring to avoid contact with other races, became mysterious creatures, and the girl had no idea where traces of their presence could be found. Alice, having no information about the whereabouts of the fairies and Lamia, made Rio feel even more lost in this mysterious web of unknown areas. The disillusioned protagonists realized that even their own sisters did not have the information they needed, and the question of how to find out became a mystery along a foggy path. Rio supported the guy, assuring him that there was nothing scary on the unknown path, and that he would definitely be able to cope with the challenges facing him. In recognition of her confidence in him, she decided to give the guy an award symbolizing his strength and determination in climbing unknown paths. In recognition of her confidence in him, she decided to give the guy an award symbolizing his strength and determination in climbing unknown paths. Then, as if transporting their feelings to a more intimate dimension, they easily found a more comfortable position, plunging into the world of ascent together. For Alice, this became a clear sign of the beginning of a war between her and her sister, in the struggle for attention and recognition, which so suddenly found itself in the arms of a guy. Rio, due to her own desires, asked not to interfere with the act of love, which became a kind of response to the challenges thrown by their sisters to each other. Alice, deciding to use a technique called high fire, attempted to change the dynamics of the war by introducing an element of surprise and force into her strategy. The next morning, the guy was almost all aching after a serious reception from his sisters, and he realized that the war between them had added its share of emotional intrigue and incredible intensity. The next morning, the guy was almost all aching after a serious reception from his sisters, and he realized that the war between them had added its share of emotional intrigue and incredible intensity. Iris, penetrating the guy, showed concern and interest, asking how he was feeling and how he managed to sleep after an unusual evening full of passion and struggle. Rui was surprised that Iris showed up surprisingly early this morning, leaving him somewhat amazed at the unexpected change in routine. Rui was surprised that Iris showed up surprisingly early this morning, leaving him somewhat amazed at the unexpected change in routine. Rui, having reconsidered the situation, invited Iris to join them in the library. creating a moment of possible unity in this stream of unusual events. Iris had a meeting planned with friends who were collecting information from various regions of the mainland, which created an important and obligatory activity for her. The main character shared his desire to learn more about the hero's friends and expressed his intention to read something in order to better understand their stories and characteristics. Iris reported that as far as she knew, there was a vast amount of material in the capital's library archives that provided information about the hero's friends that might be of interest to them. He realized that this represented a difficult task, but he firmly believed that he could find all the necessary information and solve the mysteries buried in the library's archives. Still, it turned out to be really difficult, and the main character went deep into research, reading several volumes with the same tenacity and determination. Ben and Lona were also in the library at the time, and their presence created an atmosphere of collaborative searching and sharing of information, somewhat resembling a team effort. Ben felt anger as Rui constantly searched for subtext in their presence in the library, seeing it as something deeper than just a general search for information. The main character noticed how serious Ben and calm Lona, despite internal tension, began to move closer to each other, creating invisible connections in this world of knowledge. Without thinking too much, Ben expressed his willingness to help the protagonist, creating a moment of solidarity and understanding between them. Rui expressed his desire to learn more about the Lamias and fairies, emphasizing his interest in expanding knowledge about these mysterious creatures. Ben advised Rui to read a specific book and went after it, showing his concern and willingness to share his knowledge. Ben reported that there are no records of anyone seeing Lamia and fairies, but it seems that the book in question contains several hints and information in this regard. Lamia are a mysterious race with abundant abilities matched only by demons and a unique ability only available to them. Queen Lamia has a unique ability called the Third Eye, which allows her to see into the future several centuries into the future, making her the owner of an amazing gift of foresight. After treating his wounds from a poisonous snake bite, the Lamia instantly disappeared into the dense jungle, leaving the recovered hero alone with the mysteries of their mysterious world. But if you think about the fact that their unique ability can be used for malicious purposes, then it is probably better for everyone to stay away from connections with these mysterious creatures. Unfortunately, Ben doesn't even know anything about fairies. He doesn't even know if they really exist. Ben assured the guy that if he needed any more information or help, he could safely reach out, revealing his willingness to support in his search for knowledge. Rui decided to make an effort and aim to actively strive to achieve his goal, engaging in a struggle with secrets and riddles. At this time, the stranger also seemed to be holding some kind of book in his hands, creating the feeling that each of them held in their hands the key to unknown knowledge. Before entering the gate, the guard demanded to stop and grant permission, creating a moment of tension in anticipation of the important entrance. The permit turned out to be genuine, but they also needed to check the contents of the carriages following behind, increasing attention to detail and ensuring security inside the gate. A colossal horse towered in front of the guy, creating an impression of grandeur and power, like a living guardian of the entrance to this mysterious world. 5 giant horses, rare even among demons, along with 10 carriages were heading into human territory, creating an impressive and mystical caravan full of unexpected mysteries. A guy named Jason revealed that the purpose of the visit was related to something outside of human territory, creating intrigue around the intentions and nature of this mysterious appearance. And, to be precise, outside the capital of the Kingdom of Escador, Jason added, revealing a more specific direction of his mission and stirring up the interest of others. Jason asked the man if he understood everything correctly, clarifying the details and confirming his intention to head outside the capital. The subordinate conveyed information to the commander that all other carriages also had permission to enter, eliminating possible obstacles to their passage. The commander instructed the guy to tell Mr. Portofino about this just in case, warning against possible misunderstandings and emphasizing the importance of timely information. The subordinate approached Jason and asked if he could have a conversation with him, expressing his desire to exchange information or ask questions. He noticed that the boss was in a great mood, as he even played a melody under his nose, creating a cheerful and light atmosphere. Jason revealed that the book would prove useful to his plan, revealing hints of strategic motives and mysterious intentions. The guy did not hesitate to express that for him, This book looked just like an ordinary book, without anticipating any special attention. Jason claimed that finding this book was destiny and believed that the heavens were his sign to become king, paving the way for him to greatness. There was a small village nearby, a small corner where life was housed, and its presence provided a contrast to Jason's mysterious secrets and plans. There was a small village nearby, a small corner where life was housed, and its presence provided a contrast to Jason's mysterious secrets and plans. He summoned all his strength to prevent the capture, for he understood that in this clash, not only his own well-being was at stake, but also the fate of the entire village. The guy, having heard such news, expressed surprise and stated that Jason, in his opinion, turned out to be unexpectedly kind, sometimes hidden under the guise of an imperious leader. Spide was assigned to go down, and he, accepting the challenge, stepped down, preparing for a new test, despite the possible difficulties and surprises that could await him below. The guy openly stated that Spide had the right to do whatever he wanted with them, giving him power and control in this situation, as if submitting to a kind of game or test. Spide was left in shock, unable to believe what had happened, his mind rejecting the idea that he had been given such unlimited freedom and control. He is well aware of how the demons have been enjoying the fun of late using their sinister abilities, and this knowledge has filled his heart with worry and caution. Thus, this marked the beginning of a new, unpredictable fun war, where every moment promised to be filled with excitement and laughter, but at the same time riddled with uncertainty and risk. Thus, this marked the beginning of a new, unpredictable fun war, where every moment promised to be filled with excitement and laughter, but at the same time riddled with uncertainty and risk. It was great for Jason to sit back with a glass of wine and watch the fun war, like an epic show, where each demon fighting became an actor in this amazing and bloodthirsty production. The man flared up with anger, unable to understand how the guy's subjects could afford this, because it caused bewilderment and anxiety in his soul. This was not a problem for Jason, on the contrary. He enjoyed the chaos and unpredictability, seeing it as a source of fun and entertainment. Jason suggested that if a man was so afraid of being discovered, the guy could arrange everything so that no evidence was left behind, promising to make the traces disappear unseen and keep his secret. Then, in the midst of the village's devastation, Jason himself joined her, adding his mark to this chaotic mosaic of fun and destruction. In just a split second, in the literal sense of the word, there was nothing left of the village. It disappeared, becoming an entertainment field of destruction under the rule of Jason and his subjects. Indeed, Jason was a psychotic, capable of madness, and his potential to become a demon king was enormous, reflecting his strength and untamed nature. However, it seemed like it wasn't enough to cause chaos in just one small village, and Jason had already begun to think about how to expand his power and chaos to a larger area. He hoped that the capital would be an ideal place for new entertainment and an outlet for his unbridled desire for fun and chaos. As a result, the main character did not discover anything about the Snake King or the Fairy Queen, with the exception of the book that Ben recommended to him, leaving the hero waiting for new mysteries and adventures. Charlotte suddenly appeared in front of the guy, adding mystery to his quest and causing excitement with her unexpected appearance. Charlotte revealed that she met the girl and Ben in the city, and they told her that he was in the library. Deciding to wait and make a joke, Charlotte seemed unable to catch him off guard. If his business in the library was completed, then Charlotte invited him to go home, warning him of a possible secret that she could reveal. He informed Iris that he needed to visit the library without revealing his plans to Charlotte and leaving her in the dark about his motives. He did not share with Charlotte the real purpose of his studies at the academy, fearing that if he told the truth, she would not believe him, which is why he did not tell Iris about his visit to the library. He did not share with Charlotte the real purpose of his studies at the academy, fearing that if he told the truth, she would not believe him, which is why he did not tell Iris about his visit to the library. He discovered that his ancestor was the one who sealed the good demon and dragon kings, putting him in a difficult position and forcing him to hide the truth from Charlotte. If Charlotte found out that he was seeking to release the sealed good demon and dragon kings, it could put her in an unpleasant position, so he chose to hide his true intentions. Charlotte also noticed that the guy was thoughtful and anxious, which caused her concern, the feeling that there was something hidden in his soul that he was not ready to reveal. But he assured that everything was fine and suggested not to continue the conversation, as if trying to close a topic that he did not want to open. Charlotte stopped abruptly and stated that although she did not know what he was hiding, she did not intend to persuade him to reveal his secrets, respecting his decision. Charlotte once again emphasized that he was completely free to say nothing if he didn't want to, reaffirming her respect for his privacy and choice to keep secrets. Sincerely expressing her faith in him, Charlotte assured that they trusted him, supporting him in any decision and accepting him without conditions. If he believes it is better not to reveal his secret, she is ready to simply listen to him, recognizing his right to personal intimacy and choice to remain silent. The guy was surprised by the girl's reaction, but at the same time realized that he could continue to manipulate her, so she had to be prepared for this and closely monitor the situation. Yuri was curious what happened, since his father had not invited him to his place for a long time, creating a mysterious atmosphere and raising questions about the reasons for such a long silence. However, instead of inviting him into the common room, his father called him into his private room, emphasizing that the conversation should be confidential and secret. A few seconds later, Yuri and his subject entered his father's room, ready for a secret conversation and attentive to any possible details. Now it became clear who Yuri took after. They were like two peas in a pod with his father, reflecting the similarity of character and behavior, which could not help but attract the attention of others. Now it became clear who Yuri took after. They were like two peas in a pod with his father, reflecting the similarity of character and behavior, which could not help but attract the attention of others. A few minutes later, the tea was ready, filling the room with a pleasant aroma and creating a cozy atmosphere for continuing the conversation. The atmosphere between father and son was pleasant and kind, filling the room with warmth as if they were enjoying their moments together. Recently, there was a message about the arrival of a messenger from the country of demons in the capital, which, despite the usual, gave the event a special mystery and interest. It is clear that after such information, both guys were in complete shock, faced with unexpected and potentially dangerous circumstances. Yuri was curious to know what the goals of the envoy from the land of demons were, and when he intended to arrive in the capital, creating a sense of the unknown and mysterious in the upcoming events. Yuri did not know where to put his nerves after learning that the messenger from the land of demons intended to arrive tomorrow, filling his feelings with tension and anxiety. The father asked Yuri to remain calm, claiming that he hoped they could maintain composure when faced with the arrival of an envoy from the land of demons. Taking into account the risk of attack, you will have to invite the envoy to the palace and then move away from the city with him, avoiding potential dangers. This is all just guesswork for now, but apparently, this is solely the decision of the minister, who is showing a belligerent mood. The father asked Yuri to carry out the evacuation, emphasizing the seriousness of the situation and the need to safely leave the possible conflict zone. The most important thing now is that the royal bloodline is not interrupted, even if something unexpected happens to the father, emphasizing the importance of maintaining the chain of inheritance. The man immediately apologized to the guy for his unusual request, recognizing the possible emotional and moral burden associated with such a request. The man announced that he was transferring responsibility for the future of this country to his subject, doing this with special solemnity and hope for prosperity. The guy assured that he would protect Yuri even at the cost of his life, expressing devotion and determination in protecting the future of the country and its leader. The father realized that he had raised his sons correctly, and there was nothing better for him than to see them show loyalty and responsibility at a critical time. He thought to himself that even if the demons attacked, his sons would still not let the country fall, expressing confidence in their ability to protect and preserve the country's prosperity. Some guard at the gate expressed a desire to return home, expressing his feelings of fatigue or dissatisfaction with the current situation. A man asked Carlos where his energy had gone, expressing curiosity or surprise at the changes in his mood or behavior. As it turns out, it was a commander named Ekel, providing information about the identity of the one asking the question about Carlos's energy loss. Carlos was indeed surprised by such a meeting with Commander Ekel, feeling surprise and perhaps some misunderstanding in the situation. The commander behaves with dignity even after being notified of the impending demon attack, demonstrating the example of the kingdom's shield and confirming the expectations of its reliable protection. Allowing highly skilled riders to enter the capital too quickly could cause disaster due to the potential for chaos and poor horse handling in confined spaces. The commander issued orders to assemble all of the country's carriages in preparation for evacuation or mobile deployment to ensure rapid and efficient transport if necessary. Jason expressed his gratitude for his willingness to receive them and introduced himself as a subject of Minister Grants, named Jason, establishing contact and demonstrating his willingness to cooperate. In response, the commander thanked them for their journey, expressing recognition and respect for those who are ready to take on the challenge in conditions of uncertainty and tension. The commander introduced himself, oddly enough, as the commander of the Knights of the Royal Escador named Ekel. Having never expected a meeting, the man realized that in front of him stood the shield of the kingdom. He was well acquainted with the heroic deeds of this great military leader, whose deeds had become legends among the inhabitants. Hearing the commander's confident words that he was well aware of the man's exploits, he suddenly asked him, wondering what he himself thought about it. Hearing the commander's confident words that he was well aware of the man's exploits, he suddenly asked him, wondering what he himself thought about it. Jason intervened in a timely manner, stopping and offering an apology to the commander, to which he replied with a smile that he did not see any problems in this, and was ready to forgive. The commander offered to take us to the palace in these carriages, leading our horses, and promised us his own supervision at the guard gate. The relieved commander expressed his joy that they had managed to temporarily avoid disaster, while his main goal of protecting the country and the king remained at the very center of his concerns. At this time, the main characters, Charlotte and her companion, were in the classroom, immersed in the fascinating world of knowledge and discoveries. The girls were surprised why the guy knew nothing about demons, and began an interesting conversation, revealing the secrets of the supernatural in the world that surrounded them. By the way, Charlotte was uncomfortable with the fact that demons had appeared in the capital, and she sincerely wished that her friends would quickly return to confront this evil sign together. By the way, before he met his sister, he himself thought that there might be good ones among the demons, but not everyone knows about it. No one knew that Iris was also a demon, and it remained a hidden secret, adding to the mystery of her personality. When his sister returned from endless hell, he dreamed that people would be able to make friends with her, but he realized that it would be very difficult. At this time, the main character noticed that Iris was sitting nearby, giving the moment special excitement and an unexpected turn of events. Approaching Iris, he asked if she would be fine, and if she was connected to demons, trying to find out the truth and calm his worries. Iris revealed that vampires have the ability to change their appearance, and warned that if she was discovered, there would be a commotion, adding to the mystery of her existence. She remembered asking at the vampire meeting the day before yesterday, and she was told that no one was sent to Escador, which confused her and created mysterious secrets. Only now she was informed that a demon named Jason was involved in the case, about whom there was a lot of bad gossip, adding intrigue to the solution. The main character thanked for the information and assured that he would remember this demon named Jason, as if ready to face the mysteries and challenges that had yet to be solved. When the teacher entered the classroom, the main character noted that it was not possible to start yet, since Yuri and Ibuki did not show up, emphasizing the importance of their presence. The teacher announced that Yuri had health problems, so he was absent, and at the same time apologized for the brevity of lessons today, explaining that recent events had created certain difficulties in the schedule. The main character was very surprised, because Yuri had never missed a lesson until today, and even had his lessons cut short. And all this happened right when the demons came. The main character was very surprised because Yuri had never missed a lesson until today, and even had his lessons cut short. And all this happened right when the demons came. Rui was finally free. He planned to go to the cafeteria and eat as always, and then go home. Charlotte offered to go somewhere with her guy if he was free. The main character, with wide eyes, looked for an answer in bewilderment, unable to comprehend the reason why all this happened again, as if a mysterious turn of fate had disrupted his routine. Charlotte stood in bewilderment because she couldn't understand why Iris was with them, because she had only invited a guy. She explained her presence, claiming that it was her responsibility to be with the master. Confusion flashed in her eyes, but she stood firm in her opinion. Of course, adding that if Charlotte doesn't like something, she is supposed to be free to move to another place without unnecessary hassles and complaints, to make it comfortable and easy for her. Classmates were happily informed that their order was ready, And this news of the successful completion of their selection filled them with pleasant satisfaction, creating a pleasant feeling of joy and satisfaction. It is also worth emphasizing that all this seemed truly appetizing, which, combined with a pleasant notification that the order was ready, created a tempting prospect of tasty pleasure, inspiring real gastronomic pleasure. The main character completely immersed himself in pleasure, fully enjoying the delicious food that was brought to him, forming a moment of complete satisfaction and true joy around himself. Noticing that he was dirty, Iris immediately began to help him, showing care and friendliness at this unexpected moment, creating an atmosphere of attention and support. From the expression on her face, it became clear that she was alarmed by the girl's behavior, reflecting anxiety and bewilderment at the unexpected actions of her interlocutor, creating an atmosphere of misunderstanding and anxiety. She was sure that Iris was doing this on purpose, demonstrating her actions right in her presence, causing her a feeling of dissatisfaction and irritation. After that, she decided to take action and was ready to tell the guy something important, taking responsibility for conveying information, creating an environment of seriousness and readiness to act. Then she suddenly just licked it, creating a moment of confusion and surprise with her unexpected action, giving the situation a strange cast and raising questions in the air. And after that, she gratefully expressed her gratitude and said that everything was delicious, ending the meeting with a positive review, creating a pleasant impression and ending the meeting in a good mood. Of course, the main character could not understand what was happening here and was slightly alarmed, feeling some awkwardness and misunderstanding of the situation, creating an atmosphere of mystery and slight anxiety. Everyone else present will also always be in shock at what is happening, creating an atmosphere of surprise and bewilderment among everyone present, leaving a trace of mystery and surprising excitement in the room. Iris then offered her pancake to Rui with a smile on her face, creating a warm and pleasant environment where the delicacy became not only a symbol of taste, but also a sign of friendship, blossoming in an atmosphere of mutual understanding. Immediately after this, Charlotte began to offer her cake, adding to the atmosphere of fun and sharing of treats, creating a delicious moment in their communication together, where taste and joy became an integral part of this pleasant evening. The guy was at a loss, could not understand what was happening, because he saw how both girls were competing for his attention and did not know how to behave in this situation, feeling a mixture of surprise and bewilderment. It was difficult for him to choose one girl because both of them were ideal in their own way, creating a dilemma of choice and causing mixed feelings in him, leaving him in a state of indecision and hesitation. He then decided to use the escape technique, and by simply using the disappearing technique, he suddenly disappeared from the setting, leaving the girls in amazement and bewilderment, creating a mysterious effect and a mysterious ending to the scenario. Charlotte sarcastically called the guy polite, insisting that payment could wait, adding a humorous note to their communication, and emphasizing a peculiar view of the situation, giving the conversation a slight ironic tone. After all these events, Iris apparently decided that it was time for her to go home, emphasizing the closure of the meeting and, perhaps, the desire to avoid further surprises, creating an atmosphere of closure and resolution. She explained her move by saying that without the main character, there was no point in being there, expressing her need for his presence and emphasizing the connection between them, giving the situation a touch of emotional importance. Charlotte couldn't understand why Iris always said things like that, causing her confusion and questions about her friend's behavior, leaving a sense of mystery and misunderstanding in the air. The girl simply could not understand whether she had done something wrong and why she deserved such treatment from Iris, feeling misunderstandings and doubts about her behavior, creating mixed feelings and questions in her soul. Iris understood that the Demon King had the ogre sealed, and his granddaughter had nothing to do with it, but she still felt some inexplicable emotions, especially towards the girl, creating a mysterious moment in their relationship. Inside, Iris felt an inexplicable anger towards the girl, although she understood that she was not to blame for anything, experiencing an internal contradiction between emotions and rational understanding, creating a complex emotional conflict. Inside, Iris felt an inexplicable anger towards the girl, although she understood that she was not to blame for anything, experiencing an internal contradiction between emotions and rational understanding, creating a complex emotional conflict. Charlotte considered the girl a fool, while Vitya seems to hold grievances inside herself, creating a tense and unclear dynamic in their relationship, leaving negative tension in the air. The next day, the main characters told their friends what happened to them, sharing their impressions and worries after the unusual events, creating an atmosphere of discussion and exchange of impressions. The guy sincerely hoped that the girls would find a common language and become support for each other, with the confidence that friendship between them would make their interaction more pleasant and calm, introducing an element of mutual understanding and harmony into their relationship. Wolf said that in that case they needed to eat meat and asked the man for 3 large skewers, expressing her need for nutritious food and making a request to him, creating mixed feelings around the request for meat. The man decided to please the guy and said that he would give him more, showing friendliness and willingness to please his guest in a pleasant moment, creating an atmosphere of cordiality and hospitality. Wolf believed that his meat was different from others, considering it the best among all, expressing pride and confidence in the quality of his product, creating an atmosphere of passion and gastronomic enthusiasm. Michael felt that there was some uncertainty in the city, and more mysterious events were happening every day, making her feel wary and eager to unravel the mysteries that mysteriously developed around her, creating an atmosphere of intrigue and mystery. In addition, there is some kind of unpleasant atmosphere in the city, and he does not like it when everything is so gloomy, causing him an additional feeling of discomfort, creating an atmosphere of indignation and even anxiety. Even the seller noticed that since yesterday, the number of buyers has become significantly less, emphasizing the impact of strange events on the general atmosphere and life in the city, creating an environment of decline and uncertainty. There are also adventurers who fled the capital. He was interested in the question of what would happen to this country, creating additional mysteries and worries about the future, adding an element of unpredictability and uncertainty. Wolf felt it was strange not to be afraid of demons, expressing his surprise and pondering why some people do not naturally feel uneasy about demonic entities, creating an interesting conversation about the perception of fear and mystical phenomena. He explained that beastmen are excellent at close combat, but have absolutely no magical skills, making them incompatible with demons due to their inability to use magic, adding an interesting dynamic to their struggles with mystical forces. Michael could not understand why demons were considered so scary, expressing his confusion regarding their terrifying reputation, raising questions and speculation about the nature of fear of such entities. The guy firmly decided that he would not allow magic to become his weak spot. His ideas on countering magic had just begun to take shape and were in the development stage, but he was determined to bring them to specific and effective methods of protection, creating an image of determination and desire for self-defense. Michael reported that this was exactly what he expected from the guy, expressing his unsurprisingness and confidence.
Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.